What up, what up, what up, what up, y'all? It's your boy Chris Collins from Chris C Speaks, and I'm super excited to be back with y'all live once again, back in the building as we do this collaboration in celebration of my official partnership with CoolSpeak. So if you were here last week with us, hopefully you got a chance to get that and you got to see how we talked about increasing our capacity as leaders by building our confidence. And not just any confidence, but that confidence like you singing in the shower or like you singing in the car. If you have not checked out that video, make sure you go back on CoolSpeak YouTube channel and go check that out. It's a dope video. Today is part 2 of that. And today I want to talk to you a little bit about building our capacity in a different way. Today I want to talk to you about the 2 things that every student needs to know in order to be the dopest version of themselves. I want to talk to you about the 2 things that every student needs to know to really be able to tap in to their capabilities and their purpose as a leader. And I want to talk to you about those 2 things, and that is hustle and purpose, right? I want to talk to you about hustle and purpose. Every student needs to know how to hustle and that they have a purpose. I'll say that one more time. Every student needs to know how to hustle and that they have a purpose. Now, when we talk about hustle, the definition of hustle is very specific. The definition of hustle is the ability to overcome, adapt, and succeed through hard work, grit, and talent. I'll say that one more time. It's the ability to overcome, adapt, and succeed through hard work, grit, and talent. Every student needs to know how to do this. Every student needs to know how to dig deep and to push through and do the work that it takes to become the best version of themselves. They need to know how to dig deep and push through and do the work that it requires for them to be able to engage in others and to be the best friend, the best student, the best citizen, the best leader that they can be. It's something special about hustle. And when I say hustle, I don't mean like you got a side hustle. I mean like you have for real, like that Rick Ross hook hustle. That ability to just drive and keep pushing and motivate yourself to be able to overcome obstacles. The next thing we need to define is purpose. Purpose is the meaning, the influence, and the moral motivation of your actions. All right. Hustle is the meaning, influence, and the moral motivation of your action. That's what purpose is. So every student needs to know first that they need to know how to hustle. And second, they need to know that they have a purpose. And here's why this is important. When students know how to hustle, right? When you know how to dig deep and how to push through, that allows you to be able to overcome obstacles that most folks quit at. The reason why most folks don't develop into being the best version of themselves is not for a lack of skill, but a lack of will. And if you have the willpower to push through, to be able to elevate yourself, to be able to see challenges as something that you welcome, then the rest takes care of itself. So you have to know how to hustle. And here's how you do that. In order to know how to hustle, that is a skill that you have to develop. That's a talent that you have to nurture, because everybody ain't born a hustler. Like everybody ain't born from the south side of Chicago where you have to hustle. Sometimes you have to just learn how to do that. And you learn how to do that by challenging yourself to do the hard things consistently. Now, that doesn't mean you'll always do the hard things well, or that doesn't mean that you'll always knock it out the park. But eventually, you'll build the mental calluses to be able to do the hard things on a consistent basis. So in other words, don't run away from the stuff that you're not great at. Don't run away from the challenges. Run towards them. And that will allow you to build up the skill of knowing how to hustle. And it's also important for students to know that they have a purpose. Like every single student, every single person that has 10 toes on the ground instead of 6 feet under has a purpose. You were put here for a reason. You have a special gift, a special talent that the world is waiting on you to activate, and the world is waiting on you to tap into that so that we can all win. The world will be a better place when you learn how to hustle and you learn that you have a purpose. So I remember the first time I moved down from Chicago to Texas, I thought I was the man when it came to football, y'all. You couldn't tell me nothing. I was in shape, you know what I'm saying? I was the man up in Chicago. I played for Morgan Park High School. The varsity coaches was drooling over me like, man, I can't wait to get this dude on the team. And I just knew I was going to come down here and just start no matter where I was. But see, what happened was Texas is a whole different breed of football. I got down here to Texas. It was 150 degrees in the shade. These boys have been playing tackle football with pads since they was 4. And I'm talking about they like to hit. Like, they love the contact. I had no clue what I was getting myself into. My first week of practice, I almost passed out from heat exhaustion. I sat in a pile of fire ants because I didn't know any better. And then a cow snuck up behind me on the field and mooed and scared me. And I jumped at least 10 feet off the ground. Y'all, I just wasn't prepared. That first year playing football wasn't great for me. I didn't make the junior varsity team, and that was tough. I barely made the freshman team. That was a blow to my ego. And I had a coach tell me, you know what? You're not built to play tight end. You're not fast enough to do that down here. Maybe up in Chicago you were, but down here we don't get down like that. So I had to choose. Was I going to accept the place that I was? Was I going to accept my situation? Or was I going to work through it? Y'all, that summer, I dedicated myself and I made sure that I was going to make the varsity team the next year. I would walk to my summer job, which was about 4 miles away from my house, or I'd ride my bike. Then I would ride my bike or walk or run from that job to my high school, which was about another 3 miles. I'd work out. After I worked out, I would go to the track and I would do sprint work. After I did sprint work, I would go to the field and I'd work on my footwork. I'd work on catching. I'd work on all those things. I worked on being a better athlete. But y'all, I had to put in the work. I had to hustle because I knew my purpose. Now, before you think that my purpose was to be a football player, that wasn't it. My purpose was just to be better than I was the year before, right? I knew that I had to do better as a better athlete, had to be a better student, a better teammate. And the only way that I could do that was through hard work and grit. I couldn't just rely on my natural talent. I had to actually mix those things together to put it in a pot like gumbo to make it come out right. So I did the hard work during the summer, and I had a goal of playing varsity football the next year. Not only did I play varsity football, but I started the first varsity team that my school ever had. And my number is not in the rafters, but I was so proud of myself for the hard work that I put in, changing positions, changing cities, doing all of that work over the summer and being able to see the results on the field because I hustled. I put in the work. I had the hard work. I had to adapt. I had to overcome. I had to have the grit, and I had to mix that with my talent. And then I had to use that to be able to reach my purpose, which was to be better than I was the year before. See, when I introduce hard work and purpose, it's not hard work or purpose. It's hard work and purpose. You have to have the both of them together, because if you don't have hustle and purpose, then you're missing out on part of the equation. See, the thing about having both hustle and purpose is that now you can tap into both sides of the way that we're motivated as human beings. See, student leaders sometimes feel like they need to have a title or they need to be given permission to go be great. You don't need permission to be great. You don't need a title to be great. You just need to do the work. So if you hustle without a purpose, you can feel like you're doing a lot of work, but you aren't going anywhere. If you hustle and you don't know that you have a purpose, you don't know that you have a particular gift or skill set that the world is waiting for you to unlock, now you don't tap into anything and you get burnt out because you're just going through the motions. You're just trying to reach a certain title. You're trying to achieve a certain office. You don't really give. You don't really care about it. You're not passionate about it. You just want to do it for either the status or the likes or for what you think maybe it'll bring you. But there's nothing intrinsic. There's nothing in here that you're tapping into that is pushing you and driving you toward that thing. So if you have hustle without a purpose, man, you can feel like you're spinning your wheels. And on the opposite end, if you have purpose without a hustle, then you feel unfulfilled. Can you imagine how it feels to know deep down in your heart that you are destined to do great things. You are destined to be the greatest of all times, the best thing since sliced bread, but you aren't taking active, intentional steps towards it. Can you imagine how empty that can make you feel? That's tough to know that you got something in you, but you're just not taking the right steps to be able to pull it out. That's why it's important that once you acknowledge your purpose, once you have it, once you realize that you have one, that you now hustle toward getting it. Remember, if your hustle and your purpose are not aligned, then sometimes your life feels out of balance. We have to make sure that we put in the right amount of hustle, the right amount of purpose, so that they go together. And now we can elevate our skill set and our capacity to be the best version of ourselves. And I talk about this like in day 2 of the 21-day challenge, right here in our book. In day 2 of it, we talk about potential and how if you don't activate your potential, if you don't put in the work, potential can either propel you to greatness or it can put you down in the dumps because you really don't feel like you're achieving what you should be achieving because you're not putting in the work. I have a challenge for all of my student leaders out here. I don't want you to try to find a specific purpose, right? I don't want you to say, like, my purpose is to change the world through medicine, or my purpose is to be an attorney. Like, and if you feel that way, cool. Like, if you want to be that specific, great. But when I talk about purpose, it's not a specific thing, but it's a mind frame that you just belong in spaces. It's a mind frame and it's a way of thinking that allows you to understand that you have a place everywhere you step foot. Every time you are in a room, it's not a coincidence. You are there because you have something to add. Your voice brings value. So I need you to understand that it's not just this specific thing about, oh, I have to be a doctor or a lawyer, or I have to be a welder or an engineer or a mechanic or a plumber. No. See, those are goals. Those are careers. Your purpose is to fill the space that you're in with love, with integrity, with character. See, that's your purpose. Your purpose is to be a better version of yourself every single day, to just get 1% better every day. Your purpose is to make sure that you understand that leadership isn't about your title, but it's about your actions. That's what your purpose is. And when you believe that, you'll find a career, you'll find goals, you'll find things that'll push you to the next step. And then once you do that, you have to have the willingness and the discipline to be able to hustle to achieve your purpose. The hustle and the purpose go hand in hand. They go together like peanut butter and jelly, and actually peanut butter and strawberry jam, because that is the far superior sandwich. Don't argue with me about that one. I want to leave you all with this. Every single time we get together, from now until the 3rd session, and anytime you bring me to your school or anytime we connect, we're always going to talk about how to make leadership a verb. We're always going to talk about how to dial in and become the best version of ourselves. And today I want to tell you that when you combine your hustle, the fact that you have to know how to hustle, with knowing that you have a purpose, that is how you can make leadership a verb and increase your capacity as a leader on your campus, in your community, and then for your future. Know that the work is there for you to do, and it makes you better, it makes you stronger, but you got to be willing to do the work. It's not an either or. It's not a, oh, let me hustle and let me just be really busy and let me be really diligent and I'll try to get a whole lot of things done, but I don't really have a particular reason or drive behind it, because then that can leave you feeling burnt out. So if you're feeling burnt out as a leader, ask yourself, am I aligned with my purpose? And you can't have just the purpose, because when you have just that, sometimes you feel hollow. So may not feel burnt out, but maybe you feel hollow and unfulfilled because you're not moving, you're not putting in the action, you're not putting in the work. I'm telling you, y'all, they go hand in hand. You got to have a lot of hustle. You got to know how to hustle, and that you have a purpose. And when you do that, when those two things are aligned, that's when you make the greatest impact. That's when you start moving forward in a positive direction and tapping into the dopest version of yourselves. And that's what the world needs. The world needs you to be the best version of yourself, not just for you and how much success that it brings you, but for what you do and how you shape the world around you. So I appreciate you all coming and hanging out with me this week. Appreciate you all coming and hanging out with me next week as well. We're going to dive into another topic next week. Going to give you more information about this. But remember, our goal is to always make sure that you as a student really understand how to be the best version of yourself. And just in case you think, oh, well, maybe I'm not a student leader because I don't have a title. I don't care nothing about that. I don't care nothing about your title. I don't care if you're official like a referee's whistle or you standing on the sidelines. You are a leader because you have the ability to influence the folks that are around you. You have the ability to influence the folks in your lives, your friends, your family. So you're leading in some capacity. So if you lead, you might as well lead well. So make sure that you do it and that you always develop the skill of knowing how to hustle and remember that you have a purpose. And when those two things go together, there's nothing that can stop you. We'll see y'all on the other side. I love y'all like a fat kid love cake. It's Chris C Speaks.